climate change is fundamentally a human rights issue as well, just as it is a concern in environmental justice. Many attribute increased frequency of severe climatic conditions to all manner of catastrophes such as floods and droughts. The unfettered spread of disease-causing pathogens, drop in agricultural yields, increased human mortality, extreme temperatures, coastal erosion and damage from the rise in sea level, melting glaciers, as I've just told you, and a host of other troubles are all part of the potpourri of menaces climatic imbalances continue to cause. These problems will harm the poorest countries and peoples the most due to the vulnerable locations they live in and limited resources, which render it difficult or impossible for them to adapt. Climate change is not only changing our physical world, but also our intellectual, social, and moral worlds in ways that we could not have imagined a generation or two ago. The science of climate change and the political emphasis linked with dealing with it demonstrates that we are in a profoundly unsafe and uncertain world. We are, if we are honest about it, facing the possibility that all the skills and knowledge we have gained through our physical and social evolution and scientific knowledge to date may not be adequate or even the right kind to save the human race from catastrophic and potentially dislocating changes. That may sound strong, but unfortunately that is truly the way I see it. With rising temperatures, human lives, particularly in the low-income regions, are affected by compromised health, financial burdens, and social and cultural disruptions. These communities are the first to experience the negative impacts of climate change, such as heat-related illness and death, respiratory illness, infectious diseases, unaffordable energy costs, and extreme natural disasters. Not only do the dwellers of such domiciles bear disproportionate burdens from climate change itself, but also from ill-designed policies that to prevent climate change. Although controversy surrounds the scale of damage, the increased vulnerability of Africa is subject to little debate. The continent's vulnerability reflects both a greater dependence on natural systems such as agriculture, fisheries, which could be affected by climate change, and a more limited capacity to adapt to climate change given our limited resources. Africa will be less inclined to join any agreement that imposes unacceptable costs. And I have this on the authority of His Excellency the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Prime Minister Meles, who was mandated by his colleagues, the African heads of state, to really be the key negotiator. I think this was the decision in Copenhagen, and I think he did attend the conference as well, ministerial conference in Cancun, Cancun in Mexico. And so Africa is taking a very firm position. And I think that any resolution by religious organizations that goes to strengthen the African position, I'm sure will be more than welcome. These considerations must be incorporated when addressing issues of justice and equity in relation to climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, scientific and economic issues loom large in public debates, and they have been analyzed in great detail. By contrast, the question of equity and justice, while also playing a significant role in such debates, has rarely received sustained attention. Ethics and equity are critical concepts in the climate change regime. These concepts are not, however, clearly defined in international instruments. It is potentially valuable to explore equity and justice issues that arise especially for natural resource-dependent societies. With the link between human activities and climate change clearly established, and the first impacts of climate change being felt, there is a renewed sense of urgency in addressing the problem. On the basis of an overview of science and the development of the climate regime, this forum should identify the elements of a working consensus on fairness and justice principles that could be used to solve the seemingly intractable problem of assigning responsibility for combating climate change. The climate change debate should be widened to include the full participation of vulnerable, disadvantaged, and marginalized groups in the local, national, and international governance forums, strengthening the capacity of local actors in climate change issues and empowering affected populations so that they have a strong role and voice in preparedness, response, and subsequent recovery and rehabilitation must form part of our priorities. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, although climate change can adversely impact, frustrate, deter, and reverse social and human development, it also holds the potential to foster and contribute positively in terms of advancing good behavioral practices towards our God-given natural resources. Climate change impacts, therefore, require improved governance, shared knowledge, and good practices, an instilled culture of risk management and resilience, as well as behavior change fostered towards better use of our goods and natural resources within a green economic strategy. As a country, we have chosen the path, even without giving, of course, concern with a stalemate at the negotiation level. We have chosen in this country to go green. We are stressing green economy. And I think this is a message you want to give to every part of our continent and in fact, the developing world. But we have also said we will go for geothermal energy. We'll go for solar energy. And it is really beginning to look workable. Wind energy. Parts of this country that are otherwise seen as remote, like a region we call Turkana County, has so much potential in terms of wind energy that if we were to fully exploit that potential, we would not be energy deficient. This is the way to go. And we are very proud of that policy position that you have taken, which is beginning to bear good results. And we are receiving a lot of interests in people who want to invest in that area. Allow me to wish you truly fruitful deliberations. I thank you for listening to me, and may God bless all of you. Thank you so much.